The corridor lights of Outpost K flickered once, then went dark. Emergency strips along the floor glowed a dull blue, painting long shadows across the metal walls. Lieutenant Aaron Hale slowed his steps, one hand resting near the stun baton at his belt. The blackout was not scheduled. Nothing out here ever was. The station was quiet in a way that felt wrong. No hum of distant machinery, no chatter over the comms, just the sound of his own breathing and the soft echo of his boots. Aaron reached his quarters and keyed the door. The panel hesitated, then slid open with a tired hiss. Someone was standing in his doorway. She was tall, willowy, her skin a pale silver blue that caught the emergency light like frost. Large, dark eyes watched him closely. She had no weapons, no armor, no visible tech at all. In fact, she had nothing on that humans would call clothing. She leaned one shoulder against the frame, completely at ease, and smiled. "Well," she said in careful, accented standard. "Say something." Aaron froze. Training kicked in a heartbeat later. He stepped back, creating distance, baton half raised. His face burned, not from fear but from sheer shock. Every regulation, every protocol, every awkward human instinct collided in his head at once. "You," he stopped, swallowed, and forced his voice steady. "You shouldn't be here." The alien tilted her head, studying him like a curious animal. "This room belongs to you." "Yes." "Yes," Aaron said. "And the station is under emergency conditions. You need to identify yourself immediately." Her grin widened, not mocking but strangely hopeful. "You are calmer than the others." "There are others?" Aaron asked. She nodded. "They screamed. One fainted. Another tried to hit me with a chair." That sounded about right. Aaron exhaled slowly and made a decision. He lowered the baton. "Step inside, slowly." She obeyed without hesitation, moving past him into the small room. Aaron immediately grabbed the spare thermal blanket from his bunk and held it out, turning his eyes firmly to the wall. "Please," he said, choosing his words with care, "cover yourself." There was a pause, fabric rustled. When she spoke again, her voice had softened. "You look away," she observed. "Yes." "Why?" "Because it's respectful," he said. Another pause, longer this time. "Then you are different," she said quietly. Aaron turned back. She had wrapped the blanket around herself, sitting on the edge of his bunk, her long fingers gripping the fabric as if she feared it might vanish. "My name is Aaron Hale," he said. "Lieutenant, United Human Systems Navy." "Who are you?" She drew herself up, posture suddenly formal. "I am Lurie of the Seventh Veil, diplomatic voice of the Ashal Continuum." Aaron blinked. That name rang bells, big ones. "The Ashal were declared missing 2 cycles ago," he said slowly. "Your space went dark." "Yes," Lurie replied, "because we refused." "Refused what?" "To kneel." Silence filled the room again, heavy and tense. Aaron activated his wrist comm, trying to reach command. Static answered him. He grimaced. "Our systems are down. You picked a bad time to arrive." "I picked the only time," Lurie said. "Your station is small, remote, and your kind does not belong to the Coalition." "Not by choice," Aaron muttered. She watched him closely. "That is why I came." Over the next hour, piece by piece, the story unfolded. Lurie's people were not warriors. They believed power was proven through openness. To them, armor was an admission of fear, clothing a symbol of separation. When an Ashal asked for help, they did so without barriers, trusting the other party completely. The Coalition had seen that trust as weakness. "They demanded our resources, our children, our minds," Lurie said. "We said no. They burned our fleets. I escaped because my role demanded it." Aaron listened, fists clenched at his sides. He had heard rumors of the Coalition's methods, but this was different. This was a survivor sitting on his bed, wrapped in a human blanket, trusting him because she had no other choice. "Why me?" he asked. "You are human," she said simply. "Your people are new, unclaimed, unproven. That makes you dangerous." Before Aaron could respond, the station alarm screamed back to life. Red light flooded the room. A harsh voice echoed through the corridors in a language Aaron didn't recognize, then shifted into broken standard. Human station. Surrender the Ashal asset. This is your final warning. Aaron felt the moment settle on his shoulders like weight. The easy choice would be to comply. One alien life traded for the safety of a forgotten outpost. He looked at Lurie. She met his gaze without flinching. "I did not come to be hidden," she said. "If you give me to them, I will go, but know this, your answer will echo." Aaron straightened and tapped his comm again, broadcasting station-wide. "All personnel, this is Lieutenant Hale. We have a non-hostile diplomatic guest under protection. Any hostile force approaching this station will be treated as an aggressor. That's an order." The channel erupted with confused voices, fear, questions. Lurie's eyes widened. "You would risk your station." Aaron gave a tight smile. "Ma'am, humans have a bad habit of doing stupid things when someone asks for help." Outside, unknown ships began to appear on the sensors, their silhouettes dark against the stars. Lurie pulled the blanket tighter, her grin gone now, replaced by something far more fragile. "Then," she said softly, "say something more human." Aaron looked at the door, then back at her. "Welcome to humanity," he said. "We don't hand people over." And as the first enemy ships locked weapons onto the station, a simple truth began to take shape, one the galaxy had not yet learned. Humans did not see vulnerability as an invitation to conquer. They saw it as a reason to stand. The station shook as the first warning shot struck the outer shield. It was not meant to destroy, only to frighten. The coalition always began that way. Fear saved them time. Inside Outpost K-17, lights flickered between red and white. Crew members rushed through narrow halls, boots pounding, voices tight with panic. For many of them, this was their first real threat. K-17 was supposed to be quiet duty, far from borders and wars. Lieutenant Aaron Hale stood in the command hub, hands braced on the console, eyes fixed on the main display. 3 coalition ships hung in space like dark blades, sleek, silent, confident. "They're hailing again," Ensign Moore said, her fingers flying over controls. "Same message," Aaron nodded. "Patch it through, audio only." The alien voice filled the room, cold and smooth. "Human station, you are sheltering stolen property. The Ashal diplomat belongs to the coalition by right of conquest. Release her now and you will be ignored." Ignored, not spared. Ignored like insects beneath notice. Aaron leaned closer to the mic. "She's not property, she's under our protection." A pause followed, not surprise, calculation. "You are a minor species," the voice replied. "You are not prepared to resist. This matter does not concern you." Aaron glanced around the room. Faces watched him. Some were pale, some afraid, but none looked away. "She asked for help," Aaron said. "That makes it our concern." The channel cut. A low murmur spread through the command hub. "They won't back off," someone said. Aaron knew that already. The coalition never backed off once they believed they owned something. "Status?" he asked. "Shields at 93%, Moore replied. "Weapons minimal. We're an outpost, sir." Aaron exhaled slowly. "Then we do what humans always do." Moore looked up. "Which is? We adapt." In Aaron's quarters, Lurie sat alone for the first time since arriving. The blanket still wrapped around her, though she no longer clutched it as tightly. Through the small viewport she could see the enemy ships. She felt no fear for herself. Fear was a luxury she had lost when her home burned. What unsettled her was something new. Hope. She had trusted many species before, trusted treaties, trusted councils, trusted rules written by those with power. All of them had failed her people. Humans had not promised victory, they had not demanded payment. One human had simply said no. A soft knock sounded at the door. "Enter," she said. The door slid open and Commander Reyes stepped inside. Older than Aaron, her hair streaked with gray, her eyes sharp and assessing. She carried a folded uniform jacket. "I'm Commander Reyes," she said. "I oversee this station." Lurie inclined her head. "Lurie of the 7th Vale." Reyes held out the jacket. for warmth and comfort. You may wear it if you choose. Lurie accepted it carefully. The fabric was thick, worn smooth at the edges. It smelled faintly of metal and human skin. You do not force your customs, Lurie said. Reyes smiled faintly. We've learned that forcing things rarely works out. They stood in silence for a moment, listening to the distant hum of systems coming back online. Lieutenant Hale tells me your people show trust through openness, Reyes said. Yes, Lurie replied. We believed that if we hid nothing, others would do the same. Reyes nodded slowly. That's optimistic, Lurie met her gaze. And yet your people returned my openness with restraint, with dignity. That is not weakness. No, Reyes agreed. It's a choice. Another impact rocked the station. Harder this time, consoles flickered. Somewhere metal screamed. Reyes straightened. They're escalating. We need to move you to a safer location. I will not hide while you bleed for me, Lurie said calmly. Reyes studied her for a long moment, then nodded. Then you'll come to the command hub. If this ends badly, it ends honestly. In the command hub, tension thickened as Lurie entered. Conversations fell silent. Eyes turned toward her, curious, wary, respectful. Aaron stepped toward her. You okay? She nodded. Your commander offered me protection without chains. I accepted. Aaron allowed himself a brief smile. Good. The main display flared. Coalition ships were moving closer, weapons charging. They're preparing a boarding action, Moore said. Small craft inbound. Aaron clenched his jaw. They think we'll fold once they're inside. They don't know humans very well, Reyes said. Aaron tapped the station-wide channel again. All hands, prepare for boarders. Remember your training, protect each other. As he cut the channel, Lurie stepped closer to him. If they breach, they will come for me first. Then they'll have to get through us, Aaron replied. Her dark eyes searched his face. Why? He hesitated, then answered simply. Because someone trusted us. The first breach came at Dock 3. Coalition soldiers poured through the airlock, tall and armored, weapons humming with contained energy. They expected chaos, screaming, running. They found resistance. Humans fought differently than they anticipated. They did not charge blindly. They used corridors, doors, gravity controls. They worked in teams, covering angles, dragging wounded to safety. They did not panic. Coalition soldiers fell back, surprised. Multiple skirmishes across the station, Moore reported. They're not advancing as expected. Reyes allowed herself a grim smile. Good. In the midst of it all, Lurie watched. She saw humans shield each other with their bodies. She saw one soldier drop his weapon to pull a fallen enemy out of an airlock breach, sealing it before more lives were lost. Even enemy lives. This makes no sense, she whispered. Aaron heard her. What? They conquer worlds, she said. They strip them bare, and yet you protect even those who attack you. Aaron shrugged. We're complicated. The coalition commander hailed again, anger sharp in his voice. Human station, you defy lawful order, you will be erased. Aaron leaned into the mic. You came here to take someone who asked for help. We don't do that. Leave now. Silence followed. Then the voice returned, colder than before. Then you will learn your place. The largest coalition ship powered its main weapon. Moore's face drained of color. Sir, if that fires. I know, Aaron said quietly. Lurie stepped forward, her voice steady. If you give me to them now, they may stop. Aaron turned to her sharply. No. You cannot trade a station for one life, she said. He met her gaze. We're not trading anything. They made this choice. The weapon charged, light building like a false sun. And then something unexpected happened. New signals appeared on the edge of the sensor range. Multiple warp signatures, Moore said, disbelief in her voice. Human, military, Aaron's breath caught. How? Reyes answered softly. I sent a message the moment this started. Took a while to reach anyone. On the display, human ships dropped out of warp. Not sleek. Not elegant, but solid, armed, determined. The coalition weapon powered down. The alien voice returned, tight with restrained fury. This territory is disputed. A new voice cut in, calm and unmistakably human. This is Captain Verma of the United Human Defense Fleet. You are engaging a protected diplomatic guest under human asylum. Withdraw immediately." Lurie felt something inside her break and reform. The coalition ships hesitated. Then, one by one, they began to pull back. When the last hostile signal vanished, the command hub erupted in exhausted cheers. Some laughed, some cried, some simply slumped where they stood. Aaron sagged against the console, relief washing through him. Lurie looked around at the humans who had stood for her, for an idea, for a promise never written in law. She bowed deeply, a gesture of her people. "What you have done today will be remembered." Aaron shook his head. "We just did what felt right." She smiled then, not the playful grin from the doorway, but something deeper, something changed. "Then the galaxy is not ready for you," she said. And far beyond Outpost K-17, among stars that had only known fear and force, a quiet realization began to spread. Humans did not answer power with submission. They answered trust with strength. The days after the standoff passed in a strange calm. Outpost K still bore scars, scorched walls, damaged docks, tired people, but something had changed. The fear that once filled the corridors was gone. In its place was a quiet pride that no alarm could silence. Human fleet ships remained nearby, their presence steady and reassuring. Engineers worked around the clock. Medics moved from bunk to bunk. No one complained. Lurie walked the station freely now. She wore a simple human uniform jacket, altered to fit her frame, not as armor but as a sign of mutual respect. Wherever she went, people nodded to her. Some smiled. None stared. She stopped near a viewport where Lieutenant Aaron Hale stood alone, watching stars drift by. "You have not slept much," she said gently. Aaron smiled without turning. "Occupational hazard." "You saved lives," Lurie replied. "That should earn rest." "Maybe later." She joined him at the viewport. Beyond the glass, human ships patrolled slow arcs, their lights blinking like steady hearts. "My people believed safety came from being harmless," Lurie said. "We were wrong." Aaron considered that. "Harmless isn't the same as peaceful," she nodded. "You understand this." The calm did not last. A coalition transmission arrived 2 days later, not from warships but from a neutral relay. The message was formal, restrained, and filled with carefully chosen words. They demanded arbitration. Commander Reyes read the message twice, then looked up at her officers. "They want talks, official ones." "And Lurie?" Aaron asked. "They want her present." The room fell quiet. Lurie stood calmly. "They cannot ignore what happened here. Their authority cracked." Reyes studied her. "Talks can be traps." "Yes," Lurie agreed. "But silence is worse." The talks were held aboard a neutral station at the edge of coalition space. Human ships escorted Lurie's vessel every step of the way. When the doors to the council chamber opened, representatives from dozens of species turned to look. Many had heard rumors. Few believed them. At the center table, Lurie stood without guards. On one side, coalition envoys sat rigid and cold. On the other, humans stood relaxed but alert. The lead coalition speaker rose. "The Ashal continuum is no more," he said. "Their voice has no authority." Lurie stepped forward. "My people still live," she said simply. "As long as one of us breathes, we endure." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. The coalition envoy sneered. "You stand here because humans shield you. Without them, you are nothing." Aaron felt anger rise, but Lurie raised a hand. "Yes," she said. "I stand here because humans shielded me. That is the point." She turned, addressing the chamber. "When I came to them, I came with nothing," she continued. "No weapons, no demands, only trust. They could have used me, they could have traded me. They did not." She looked directly at the coalition envoys. "You saw openness as weakness. Humans saw it as responsibility." The chamber fell silent. Aaron watched faces change, curiosity, doubt, interest. Commander Reyes spoke next. "Humanity claims no ownership over the Ashal or any other people. We claim one thing only, that asking for help is not a crime." The coalition envoy laughed sharply. Ideal words. They will not save you when the galaxy turns against you. Reyes smiled, calm and dangerous. We've noticed the galaxy tends to turn on those who burn it. The talk stretched on for hours. Accusations were thrown. Threats implied, but something was different. For the first time, the coalition had to explain itself. They had no answer for trust answered with honor. In the end, no treaty was signed. No grand peace declared. But something far more important happened. The coalition withdrew its claim over the Ashal. They did not apologize. They did not admit fault. They simply stepped back. When the session ended, Lurie felt lighter than she had in years. "You changed the rules," she said quietly to Aaron as they left the chamber. He shook his head. "We just played by ours." News spread faster than any ship. Across border worlds and hidden systems, whispers grew louder. Humans were not the strongest, not the fastest, not the most advanced, but they were unpredictable in a way that unsettled empires. They did not exploit weakness. They responded to it. Requests for human presence increased, not conquest, not alliances of fear. Requests for observers, for mediators, for protection. Human diplomats found themselves welcomed where others were not. And always the story began the same way. Someone had asked for help. Months later, Outpost K was busier than ever. Supplies flowed. New personnel arrived. The station was no longer forgotten. Lurie prepared to leave. A small gathering formed at the docking bay. No ceremony. Just people who had stood together once and would never forget it. "You will return to your people?" Aaron asked. "Yes," she said. "They must see what I have learned." He hesitated. "And after that," Lurie smiled, that familiar grin softened by time. "After that I will speak." Loudly, she stepped closer, placing a hand over her heart, the Ashal sign of gratitude. "You answered my trust with honor," she said. "That debt cannot be repaid, only shared." Aaron returned the gesture awkwardly. "Take care of yourself." She boarded the ship. As it pulled away, Aaron felt something settle inside him, not loss but certainty. Humanity's path had shifted, not because of a war won, but because of a door opened. Far across the stars, the story spread. A lone alien had rested against a human doorway, vulnerable and unarmed. And instead of taking advantage, humanity had stood up, and the galaxy would never look at them the same way again.